Right, so we'll get started, guys. Good morning and welcome to At Home with Hayley. For the next 30 to 40 minutes, we'll be chatting all things property. I'm here really, guys, just to answer any questions that you may have. Looking at the list that we've got here and the attendees so far, majority of you already know me or have been taught by me in the past or coming up in the future. So for those of you that don't actually know me, who is Hayley Andrews? So guys, I am the co-founder of Your Freedom Empire. I am an international property mentor. I'm a trainer, coach and speaker, and I teach various different courses. And I've been in the industry for 17 years now. Absolutely loving it. So I do pretty much most strategies focusing on conversions, commercial conversions to residential, listed buildings, serviced accommodation and large HMOs. So that's enough about me. So while I'm waiting for your questions to come through, guys, please feel free to pop the questions in the question box at the side there. But what I actually wanted to kind of, I'll start going through. So a lot of my students have been WhatsApping me questions through. So while we're waiting for some questions to come through to you guys, what I will do is I will actually go through some of the questions that I have been asked via various different avenues, so WhatsApp, email, etc. Now, one of the main things that most people are asking me questions about at the moment is what's going to happen to lending? I'm on a bridging loan. How do I refinance? Is this going to affect me moving forward because of the virus and the lockdown? So what I've been doing this week is I've been speaking to various different power team members to see how the lockdown is going to affect us moving forward with purchases or refinance. So I had a conversation this morning with my broker. Now, if you are on a bridging loan, this is slightly different lending to your normal commercial lenders or your buy-to-let lenders out there. So with bridging loans at the moment, there will be no payment holidays, and not only will there be no payment holidays, they will enforce all of the interest, etc., if you are late in paying or if you can't exit that bridging loan in time, so at the end of your term. So for those of you that are on bridging loans, please pop your questions through, and I will answer as many as I possibly can here. I will have more information in terms of lending because we will have an update today, later this afternoon, and that update will come through to me via my broker. It's not all bad news. We do have some options, but it is untrodden ground at the moment. From what I've been told, with bridging, that's it. Everything under your contract stands and they will enforce. So if you are on a bridging loan and you are looking to get finance with a commercial lender to obviously look towards a better lending, the only option for you at the moment is a buy-to-let product through Aldermore. Now, Aldermore are one of the banks that are actually at the moment keeping their doors open, which is fantastic. And this is only for buy-to-lets. So if you are doing any other strategy, it may actually be, time for you to switch to your second exit and look at switching that strategy short term while we are in these uncertain times to a buy-to-let strategy, just to allow you really to get off the bridging loan more than anything else. Now, Aldermore at the moment are doing AVM valuations, which is an automated valuation model, and they are doing 60% loan to value. So if that product is able to go ahead, and the reason I say if is because I've been informed that all lenders have kind of stuck together and they are looking for a mandatory market freeze, which would force Aldermore into that position as well. Now, ultimately, they don't want to do that. They want to move forward with this AVM valuation product on buy-to-lets at 60% loan to value, which is great news. It will allow most of us to get off our bridging loans if that's the position we are in, or if we purchase cash and we're looking to pull some of that money out or put some of that money back into our pocket. That is definitely a product that would be beneficial to us at this moment in time. Together have pretty much closed their doors to everyone, so no new business at all. We have TML, which is still looking at residential, but other than that, most of the lenders have actually closed their doors to new business, and they are now using all of the people that actually work for them to answer the calls for people looking for payment holidays within the mortgages that they already have. Now, that's actually really good news because, for those of us that do have mortgages, we are able to look for that payment holiday, and the banks are actually adhering to it. So in line with tenants having rent holidays, as landlords, we're able to claim for that as well. So there is help there. So it's not all doom and gloom. Now, let me just have a look because we've got quite a lot of questions that are coming through now. So Hayley, would you like to? You'll be on the letting market. So we've got a rent question here. So this is from Eleanor, and she's asking, what's my view on the lettings market? Now, of course, people aren't, there's not many options out there for people to buy. Estate agents and lettings agents have had to close their doors. They are working remotely. Now, I know that from talking to lettings agencies, Eleanor, is the feedback I'm getting is majority of the tasks can still actually be done remotely. So the lettings agencies that I've been working with are doing video viewings. So that allows, so they're still advertising for, rooms to let, properties to let, etc. And they are doing video walkarounds. Now, the lettings agencies that I deal with have video walkarounds anyway to send out to the potential tenants prior to booking a live viewing. So if the lettings agencies don't already have that in place, what they can do is get a tenant to do the video walk around of, if it is a HMO, for instance, nominate one lead tenant, do a video walk around of the room that's available and the communal area, and then get that sent through to the lettings agency. That way then, there's not people that are visiting the property or viewing the property, putting people at risk during this time of coronavirus. So limiting contact altogether there. Now, in terms of taking tenants on, we're still actually able to do that. So, right to rent check and everything like that have lapsed their rules. So we're actually able to do that remotely as well via video call and verification that way, keeping all documents recorded. So, the tenant referencing process can still go forward. So assuming the tenant is happy to take that property on, we can actually do all of their checks as we would normally, and we can do a remote check-in as well. So there would be no need for the estate agents or lettings agents, to actually meet the tenant at the property. The keys can be dropped into a key safe, and there will be no contact in terms of in line with government guidelines for no interaction with people at the moment face to face. So that's still moving forward. Now, one thing I would actually say is on that point, the rent guarantee insurance isn't available anymore. So the rent guarantee insurance have actually closed their door, and for obvious reasons, because of course, the chances of people not being able to pay is pretty high. And then all of this talk and legislation that's been put into place for landlords having to give tenants that are struggling rent holidays, etc. So because of that reason, they have closed their doors. Now, of course, if you already have a property and you have rent guarantee in place, you are covered there anyway under your insurance, but do check your terms and conditions, and get in contact with your insurance provider to make sure that your policy covers that. So again, if we've been professional about this, we've taken out the necessary insurance, etc., we are covered in this time. Now, I can say probably 45% of my portfolio has rent guarantee insurance, and the rest of it doesn't. Anything we've done for the last couple of years does, but anything prior to that, we didn't do that. We are looking at, we've just had our month end, and majority of people have paid. There are a few people that have asked to come out of their contract due to not being able to pay due to their job, loss of job, etc. And we are negotiating with them at the moment to find out what the best approach would be. But of course, as landlords, we are not allowed to evict the tenants for non-payment of rent during the next 3 months. So that is something that you do need to be aware of. So hopefully that answered that question. So just going on to the next questions now. So what platform do we get online courses from? Ideas to Empires has asked me to activate their account. So I can't vouch for Ideas to Empires. That's nothing to do with me. We are launching our website, and this isn't an upsell, but we are launching our website with all of the online training at the end of the month, first week of next month, sorry. So there will be various online courses there that you can sign up to. Now, Katrina, of course, you are a mentee of mine, and we will have a mentorship towards the latter end of the year. So if you do have any questions or any content that you want, please do just email me and I'll get that sent through to you to keep you active during this time. But for those of you that don't have mentorships with me, or that have not come through my training of any sort, when the website is live, there's actually an area in there with lots of content for you to be able to download and exercises for you to be able to do, so that you can get used to how you actually implement strategies, what they mean, and various different useful documents for you to play with as well. We also have a YouTube channel, which is Your Freedom Empire, and there's lots of videos on there as well. So there's lots of testimonials on there for people that have been taught by us, but there's also lots of videos as well around different strategies, legal responsibility as a landlord, rent to rent, flipping property, serviced accommodation. There is lots and lots of useful content on there, of course, which is free. So if you do want to sign up to that, head over to our YouTube channel, Your Freedom Empire. And guys, just watch these videos. We're going to be putting lots of content up, of course, over the next few months, just to keep people active and to keep them moving forward and to keep momentum more than anything else. But we will be holding these webinars every week, and any updates that I have, I will of course come through and pass those updates on to yourself. Hopefully that answers that question. So yes, we can hear you. What do you think about the current situation? How would this reflect on property businesses? What do you think? So it's a difficult question to answer, but I'll answer it as best as I possibly can. Now, the first thing that I did was, of course, as professionals, we have, we will always make sure that we have cash reserves. We put, 10% of our revenue aside to make sure that we're covered on buy-to-lets, and higher than that on HMOs. We are actually, we build a pretty decent pot there just for uncertain times. We have insurances in place, and of course, overall, we should be covered. We stress test, we should be able to, we measure our wealth in terms of how long would we be able to live, and continue to operate in the same way, without there being any income coming in. Now, of course, that's not the case. We do have income coming in, as landlords. Most tenants will continue to pay. The government is looking to pay up to 80% of people's wages. So, tenants aren't going to be in a position where they can't pay. Now, there are going to be some vulnerable strategies out there during this period of the next 3 months, or maybe even longer. We don't know, but the guidelines is the next 3 months. But if we are looking at, if we have social housing, for instance, that's not going to be affected at all. If we have LHA and under universal credit, that the tenants are getting the rent paid to them direct, and then they are directing the rent through to you as landlords, then, we can speak to the council to get the rent paid to us direct, or set up a 6 times account so that the money is direct through to us. So, for people on benefits, if anybody's, got houses where they are targeting over 70s, pensions are still there. Nothing around that arena is affected. If you are targeting students, they still get their student loans and government grants there. So their accommodation isn't going to be affected in terms of their ability to pay the rent. With our HMOs, like I said, majority professionals or blue-collar workers. With the professional side, again, they have this top-up of the 2,500 up to 2,500 per calendar month from the government. So, with that there being in place, that should cover most people's income. So I don't see it being a problem. There may be a month where everything's kind of up and down, where we're waiting for grants to come through, etc. And that's the same with businesses as well. Businesses with employees also can take advantage of various different schemes that are available to us to be able to help you through this time. So it's not really the same as the crash in 2007, 2008, because there's a lot of help there. So, are there going to be opportunities where we can purchase below market value? Absolutely. In uncertain times, there is always opportunity there for us to be able to cherry pick and get the best deals. But it's not going to be the case where it was in 2007, 2008, where we have lots of people that are repossessed, and we're able to pick up properties cheaply there. Majority of repossessions, I would have thought, will be people that are on bridging loans and they cannot get off that bridging loan, or their bridging loan is above the 75% loan to value, or at 75% loan to value, and then looking at the products such as Aldermore wouldn't actually allow them to get off that bridging loan. So that's going to be a very minor part of the market. Now, of course, is the market going to slow down? Absolutely. It's going to be difficult to push sales through, and while we adjust to everything being remote, businesses are already put in different systems in place to be able to still operate and run their businesses remotely. This is something that is just going to get better and better. And I actually think longer term is going to change how we do business, and minimize our overheads, and actually force us to be more efficient, not only with our time, but with our resources as well. So hopefully that answers that question. In terms of the supply and the demand, it's still there. It's just on freeze at the moment. Tenants still need places to stay. Serviced accommodation, I know, is a market that a lot of people are worried about because hotels, etc., have been closed down and are not able to continue. But serviced accommodation actually comes under a different category. With serviced accommodation coming under a different category, I've checked this out. How are we allowed to still operate? And there's various different ways that we can. So we've had a lot of our larger properties, which are serviced accommodation, so hotel type of accommodation, 11 studio apartments, are being offered to NHS workers that want to self-quarantine and not continue to work and then go back to their families. And so we've got quite a few people that are looking to do that. We have charities, etc., that are contacting us to see if we can pass the properties over to them. So self-quarantine does seem to be the way forward, and people that are working tends to be around the hospitals, people that are being brought in, volunteers that are being brought into different hospitals to cope with the demand now of casualties and people that are needing to be cared for. It's overwhelming, really. So we are actually offering our properties out to those people that need accommodation in the area. But of course, it's shorter than a tenancy. They don't necessarily want to be living with other people. It needs to be self-contained. But larger companies as well that are taking the whole of the properties on, so that their employees can stay together to keep it, within work and then home during this period of time. So there is a solution to every problem, guys. And I think at the moment, for you to be successful in whatever business that you do, the most important thing is to try and solve problems. If you can think of a way around something that will allow you to operate safely and remotely and still offer, the same quality service that you would have, albeit in a different way, then there is a business there for you. Now, for those of you that are on rent to rent, this, and for those of you that have looked at this as a strategy, this is actually a really good time for you to do that type of strategy. Now, you may have to put a larger amount of money down in terms of pay the rent in advance up front, maybe 6 months up front, because landlords at the moment are scared. So if they have a company that is looking to pay the rent up front and they can cover themselves during this uncertain time, and then offer the property to the NHS, etc., for self-quarantine or even HMOs, and be able to actually implement that strategy that way, that would be very, very attractive to most landlords at the moment, and lease options as well. So people that are looking to actually get out of the property so that they're not in financial difficulty, there will be an option for you to use that particular strategy also. So do you think the current situation would reflect the property business? So I do think there's going to be, a freeze on the market. If we get the likes of Aldermore, etc., to come through with this product where they are doing the AVM buy-to-let product, they're doing the AVM valuation model, and then if we do actually get more lenders follow suit, then it will still allow us to operate. Now, I've spoken, that's just the broker, so that's the broker that's given us that information, but of course there's other parts of the power team that I've spoken to as well. And I spoke to my surveyor yesterday, one of my surveyors, very colourful wonderful guy. And we had a very long chat about where his business will be going over the next 3 months. And his prediction is that, of course, there will be a market freeze. And in terms of doing desktop valuations, although lenders will be happy. Some lenders will be happy to go down that route. The surveyor will have to make sure that their PI insurance covers them for that. Now, a lot of them won't, and depending on what the lender is asking of the surveyor will determine whether the surveyor is allowed to do that or would take the risk of doing that. My feeling is that most won't. But it is going to depend on the lender more than anything else, I think. Yes, I mean, any reports that have already, where the surveyor has already been out, of course, they can still go forward, and the report can still be published to you guys if you've had one done. But if not, then unless, again, lenders lapse that kind of rule and in their insurance covers the surveyor, we're not going to be able to get valuations carried out on our properties or surveys carried out. So do we really know what we're buying? And that's the question that we need to ask ourselves. So, I mean, hopefully that answers that question. We will be undertaking my mentorship with you soon. As current crisis is over, a big part of mine will be looking at creative finance and attracting investors. Right, so this is a question from Adam. So Adam is taking his mentorship up with me soon, once this is over. He's asking around creative finance. Now, guys, if I was to be really positive here and say to you, what can you be working on right now? Other than solving problems, getting your proposals together and business plan together while you're at home and you're unable to go out, and really building that list of contacts that you have, having coffee mornings with people, connecting with people on webinars, and really brushing up on your confidence in terms of the different strategies, what you're looking to achieve, and really making sure that you have a good solid document together. You can answer any questions that people may put forward. I'd recommend, setting up WhatsApp groups with people, like-minded people, or join Facebook groups. We have a Facebook group as well. And really just questioning each other, so share your documents with each other and get feedback from each other, so that when this is over and during this period, you can actually then start targeting your angel investors to raise finance. And then moving forward, while we're waiting for the banks then to kind of kick back into action and more products to be available to us across a wider market then, and different strategies, we can actually be looking at the whole of the purchase with angel investors, assuming that the surveyors can get this insurance in place to be able to do desktop valuations, and you are covered in terms of what you are purchasing. But I would say use this time to really think about your strategy, think about what you're looking to achieve, think about what property means to you, what the income you are going to be receiving is going to be doing for you, what is that figure, what's your time frame, but then really put in a document together to say, right, I am going to be looking at a cash flowing strategy, so buy-to-lets, HMO, serviced accommodation, and we are going to be looking at various different towns and city centres, and then name a few, and the target audience, so what profile of tenant are you looking to target, so really making sure you understand where you're going to be buying, your price range, and so looking at the money that you have available, If you don't have the money available, what type of market do you want to start in? I mean, I'd probably recommend, anywhere from, your buy-to-lets, 40 to 60,000 pounds, your larger properties, 2 to 3 bedroom houses, around the 80 to 160 if you're starting out, and I wouldn't really go higher than that. So really just making sure that you understand your strategy, you understand your audience, what towns and city centres you're going to be targeting, and what audience you're going to be targeting there as well, and what you are looking to achieve out of this. Put some market statistics in there. You can put some market cycle information in there as well. So a little bit about yourself, about your power team, etc. So really get that document in place so that you can keep moving forward. And then when we are ready to kickstart again, and we can start purchasing these properties, and the market starts getting back to normal, then you will be in a position where you can move fairly quickly. What will you do if you find a good deal now? You still proceed, or will you just avoid? So this is a question from actually one of my mentees from December. Actually, no, sorry, not December, January. So this is Fabrizio, lovely guy. Hi, Fabrizio, and Carly. Hi to both of you. So, I mean, at the moment, I would say just down to the fact of the surveys not being able to be carried out, I'm still going to be looking for deals. I made an offer 2 days ago, but my feeling is majority of people, if they have any sense at the moment, will choose not to sell. So for instance, if we had a flip strategy, which is a very unfortunate time, as professionals, we have a second exit strategy. I would definitely now be looking towards Aldermore to get a buy-to-let mortgage there, and switch your strategy short term moving forward, and that way then of course you release some of your money within that particular deal. And then after that as well, what you can do, there are a few other products available. You can go for a further advance after as well, as at the moment they're only looking at the 60% loan to value. And so the strategies, I think at the moment you wouldn't want to do a flip strategy, of course, so that's pretty transparent and obvious. A lot of people will choose to hold. If they have mortgages, they're able to get mortgage holidays at the moment. So it would, if I was to, and I'm not giving advice, but if I was to give you my opinion, I would say anything that you have at the moment, if you were looking to sell, hold. You don't want to be selling in this market currently, and within the next few months, it may be a very different market. But as professionals, we always have at least 2 exit strategies, and in many times even more. So it may be a time that we do have to sit with that second exit. As professionals, and anybody that's been taught by me in the past, and for any of you guys that are coming up in the future, I always say a minimum of 2 exit strategies, and you absolutely always have to be happy with that second exit strategy. So we have to be happy with that worst case scenario. So what happens if we can't sell? What happens if we can't refinance at a higher level? What happens if we have to leave all of that money in the deal for longer than we expected? We stress test our deals for these not cases exactly like this, of course, because this has never happened, not in my lifetime anyway. But of course, there is a reason that we, as professionals, make sure that we are happy with every different scenario possible. And this is the times where I'm glad I'm so strict on this, because had I not have been, then yes, we could have been in a position where it could have been a very different story, and financially could have been an issue for us. But it really isn't at this moment in time. And and like I said, and that comes down to behaving like a professional more than anything else. And that's why you come through the training and you get taught, and you listen to your power team. For those of you that have been on mentorship, contact your power team, ask them, you have all of your power team. This is exactly what I've done for this call, and they're having regular calls with me to give me updates, because we will be doing this every Friday at 9 o'clock, just to give you guys updates as well. But, contact your broker, contact your solicitor, ask them, how are they doing business? What's their opinion on the current market? How do they think it's going to be affected? Guys, although you're stuck at home and you can't, most of you are probably still working from home as well, it doesn't mean that you can't still move your business forward. You can. And actually, this time at home gives you more time to prepare, and make sure that the way you are moving your business forward is the right direction for you and what you're looking to achieve. So do you think there will be delays in property renovations? Yes, absolutely. So this is from Ellen again. Hi, nice to see you on the webinar. So yes, I do think that, this is going to be one of the issues. So if we've managed to get the properties through, the purchases through, and we've got the keys, the next obstacle that we need to face is, of course, our renovation teams being able to continue. Now, there are some development companies that are still continuing. There are some tradesmen that are still continuing, but majority of them will shut down. Majority of them, the smaller ones, self-employed contractors as well. Those there is going to be money available for them now as well. Majority of the people are going to just close up shop for a few months, as recommended by the government. But for the few that do continue, it is going to be difficult for them, because, in terms of just getting materials, etc. Now, I know that a lot of our build teams, actually, in anticipation for this, started buying a lot of the materials in bulk, so that they were well stocked to be able to continue during this time. But whether that happens or not, now moving forward, it's down to their decision at the end of the day. They are being advised to stay at home and self-isolate, as we all are, and the advice is to stay at home to stop this spreading. So I wouldn't encourage people to be going out. We do have a few smaller build teams that or one-man bands that are able to do various different jobs, and the properties are empty, so it's isolated cases, etc. But anything that's big and has had to stop, there is really nothing you can do about it. But again, in terms of our numbers, we always calculate to make sure that we're adding contingency in there. So the possibility of us now running, spending that contingency is quite high. The projects are going to take longer, and this will have a knock-on effect. And then, of course, when business is back to normal, there's going to be a backlog there. So any, renovations that were coming up are also going to be delayed, because the renovations that should have been completed need to then be completed first before new business can start. So naturally, yes, I do think there's going to be a minor delay there when business is open, and I don't think that business will continue as normal within that industry. Right, guys, so I think that's the majority of the questions that I've hold on. Oh, I don't understand it. Yes, just checking that I've answered most of your questions. If I haven't answered your question, guys, what I will do is I'll go through all of the questions to make sure that I have answered them. And if I have missed any of you off, I apologise. But what I will do is next week I will go through those questions and make sure that your question is answered. So hopefully, guys, you've enjoyed, or not enjoyed, but got a little bit of information out of that webinar. I do have, this is our website. So our website is, like I said, coming live the end of this month or the first week of April. So head over to the website. The website is www.yourfreedomempire.co.uk. Have a look at it, guys. There's, it's not live yet, but it will be in the next few weeks. But there will be lots of free content on there as well. But we will have another call next week at 9 o'clock. So again, bring your questions. Some really good questions, guys. I understand this is a really uncertain time at the moment, but these things come to test us. I think the most important thing for you guys is really to keep a positive mind and to make use of any of those government grants or payment holidays that you can. So get in contact with your lenders, etc., and be lenient on your tenants during these times. If you do have rent insurance in place, then of course you can contact your insurance company to get that activated as well. But this is an uncertain time for everyone. The main thing really is to stay positive, keep doing your learnings, doing your area research, still download your deals and run your numbers, really practice and get good at all of that type of stuff, so that when the market does resume and we're able to move forward and, we're able to leave the house again, then you will be in a much more confident and better position with all of your angel documents, your proposals, your business plan, and a clear view. Guys, stay safe and stay at home to really help this slow down. But thank you very much for all of your questions, and I look forward to speaking with you all next week. Take care, guys. Goodbye.